So Raw starts out. The War Games teams come to the ring. So Cody's team comes to the ring. Cody looked at Zayn while saying whether he's gotten along with him for his entire career. Then looked at Jay and said whether he's only gotten along recently. And then Cody and Cody and Rollins have a stare down. So he's basically like saying, hey, I'm cool with these guys, but you, I don't know, right? So then the Judgment Day comes out. And it's Damian, Finn, Dominic, and JD McDonough. Balor said the babyface team is a bunch of randos trying to compete against a family. Balor asked Rollins how it felt to be World Heavyweight Champion when he was standing next to Man and Rhodes, who he could never beat. Priest said Cody could beat his partners in any match he wants, but the one thing he can't do is be a champion. Balor said Zayn refers to himself as World Championship level superstar, but after his performance last week, his partners know he's nothing more than a loser. Priest asked Jay's partners whether they could trust him and when he screwed them in the name of the bloodline. This is actually good stuff because there was a lot of truth in everything he was saying. So, and they're all looking at each other. all the babyfaces are kind of trying to this is a good promo, right? So then Dom tried to speak, and of course he gets drowned out by the fans. Then Zayn told Dom that nobody wanted to hear him talk. That's why they were booing him. Zayn said he and his teammates knew the Judgment Day was trying to pit them against one another. And Zayn said it's about power, and he and his teammates can put aside their issues. Zayn said there'll be 2 rings, 1 cage, and it will be the most brutal match of their lives. And Zayn said the power on Raw lies in the hands of him and his partners. Rose said he was surprised the Judgment Day group was able to walk the ring without Rhea Ripley, and he asked if she was a leader. Cody continued to turn the spot until Priest declared, "I'm the leader." And everybody kind of looked over at him well, wait a second, you're the leader? So then Rollins said he was sick of the talking and was ready to fight. Rollins said he and Zayn were ready for a fight and challenged Dom and McDonough to face him. We accept, Priest said, which drew looks from the other members heading into the break. So this is I thought this was a good exchange. What did you think of this?
Yeah, this was good because one of the things they did is that line of "I'm the leader," and then they looked at him. You'll see that later on. Him and Rhea talk about that. So I like that thread continued. It wasn't just thrown out there, and it was never, you know what I'm saying? It was never brought up again, right, bro? I love Sami Zayn, but bro, would it hurt you to rock a can? And that dad body does not look intimidating. I think that WWE would never push him as the top guy because of his look, because he doesn't look like a star. I think he comes from that era of the early 2000s, with the Punks and the Joes and that whole Ring of Honor crew where pageantry and body wasn't important. It was just wrestling and having a wrestling gimmick. But you're missing another part of the equation. You got to look like a star. Look at all the people that get chances that they weren't that good wrestling, but they look like a star, from Jade Cargill to Batista to, we could name a million.
Yeah.
When you look in the dressing room, Disco, at a football game or a basketball game, and the players have their shirts off, except for an offensive lineman who's going to be heavy, they all look like athletes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think wrestlers should too.
That was always I agree with you. And this was always my criticism for years and years ago of the Ring of Honor guys. Is that and plus when the Ring of Honor guys all came to TNA, it's like, bro, they didn't embrace dressing for work. They wore shorts. Like Joe would come out in shorts and a tee, and I was like, and me and Russo, even you would get kind of we'd get aggravated.
Right.
Like you would get a little aggravated too. Like me and Russo, it's like, dude, come on, we're on big time
on TV, right? You're not going to the Whole Foods to pick up a loaf of bread, right?
Yeah, it's like the worst. You can't dress like a regular Joe and call yourself a superstar. Superstars look superstars look the part. Like perfect example. Like when I saw Alberto Del Rio on WWE television, I forgot that he was what was his name? Dos Caras. What was his name in?
Dos Caras Jr.
Dos Caras Jr.
Right.
And I'd forgotten that was him. I was like, wow, this guy looks like $1 million. He was wearing slacks, Versace shirts, stuff go glad. And I'm like, the guys, you come to work dressed in cool clothes, and people look at you like, wow, that guy's somebody. But when you get just a T-shirt on stuff, so this is you just made me think of this. This is the problem with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn had a very well-defined character. He was a Brooklyn hipster conspiracy theorist that dressed in the
which was great.
Che Guevara stuff, anything wrong.
Right.
So then he started becoming part of the bloodline. Then he was so he started wearing the Bloodline shirt, the T-shirt, honorary Oosh and stuff, but he was still kind of like the character, right? But now that he's just like a straight up babyface, he's like completely detached from the Brooklyn hipster character that got him over to begin with to become a member of the Bloodline. And I think he's in no man's land right now, character-wise, because he's, like you said, he's just a babyface with a big beard and doesn't really have much muscular.
Can and tighten up your body. That's not too much to ask. You don't got to look like Brian Cage, but at least look athletic. Or
dress back up in your original gimmick with the Brooklyn hipster stuff.
Right.
Like if that's your look, dress like a book, dress the part, because that's a definite look. Like
that look cool. Yeah. The fatigues look kind of cool.
Right.
Anyways, I want to say this because I thought that what's this guy's name? I thought that Zayn and Rollins really looked good in this match, and so did McDonough. Is that his name? McDonough.
McDonough.
He's good.
And Mysterio. Mysterio he got hit by a clothesline by Seth, where he did the in and out like the whirly bird, and it looked ridiculous, bro. You know?
Yeah.
And he also did this, he did a pedigree to counter out of a move, which looked really cool. Dom isn't one of the great workers yet, but he's on his way to be, because you see improvements every match, and that's how you become great. And I would suggest him looking at guys like Kurt Hennig, Pat Tanaka, how they used to sell. Regal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Eddie.
Well, you can tell me this. I don't know, because I don't know you know these guys way better than I do, right? But I don't know how gung-ho Dom was about being a professional wrestler. No, and So when he started, he's just kind of there with his dad. They're doing corny stuff. He's not really working out. He looks like a little kid on the show, and stuff. Like we actually said on the show, dude, if you're out there, dress for work. Remember when he started wearing nicer clothes out there, and stuff and thing. Yeah. And then I think when he turned heel and started finding that the crowd reacts to you, it's got him excited about being a professional wrestler, and he's literally trying to like doing the things other wrestlers do. You start studying, you start taking new bumps. You start doing different things in there. You start but when before, it's like he's kind of just in it for kind of like the money and because he has to do because his dad was a professional wrestler. But now it's like I think that dynamic's changing. Now he's like you can tell he likes he's embraced in professional wrestling right now, and like he's doing all and bro, he's really good. Like his dad's a great coach, obviously, because he's doing all the little things. Detail stuff.
The great thing about being in the dressing room is you have a lot of support systems. So you got guys going, "Hey, that bump looked great. Oh, thank you." So and
this week too, did you notice when he was stomping the guy on the ground, he was
great,
very vicious. Right. What did we say on the show? Hey, your kicks look kind of weak. You need to start. That's the one thing about Dom is he may not be the best worker on the show, but he invests a lot.
He's going to end up being one of them.
Well, here's why. He invests a lot in selling, and he invests a lot in his his basic offense, which is the punches and the kicks. And he looks like he looks right. And that's all you really have to do.
Before, the way you become great is every time you see the guy, he's improving. That shows the mark of you're on your way to being great.
And there's so many wrestlers in this business that are very lazy with stuff like that he looks like he knows how to work when he's doing this stuff better than exactly. So he's doing very well. But they go, of course, the baby faces go over here, and that was you knew that would happen. So after the match, Rhea shows up, but because they did there's interference, so there's a DQ. Rhea starts barking orders.
The in-ring, but she came in for the finish, which was I like that.
Right. So then afterwards, it turns into a free for all. All the teams are in. The producers, referees, security guards. So Jay goes to spear Priest. McDonough shoved Priest out of the way and took the spear himself instead.
Right.
So finally, Adam Pearce gets in the ring and starts yelling again. He says enough. He recalled saying that he's sick of the games. Pearce said everyone involved in War Games would be banned from ringside during the undisputed tag team title match. Pearce said that wasn't good enough and then banned them from the arena. Then Rhea Ripley protested heading into the break. That was a very important detail, which we saw what happens at the end of the show. So